Mine isn't. Oh yeah, now it is. Okay. Yeah.
Hello! Welcome, everybody.
Hello, hello, hello.
Martin is taken over.
Yeah, hello, Gamescom 2020. A really warm welcome from Scene World. And today we are talking to a lot of people you may notice from yesterday evening. So, from our team from Scene World, it's Joerg, it's AJ. Hi there, people.
Hello, hello.
And our guests today are Richard Loewenstein.
Hi guys.
And in the other corner, it's Christian, or it's CH. Let's tell him to CH. So, and well, I don't know how we switched our language from German to English because we had a lot of people saying that our talk yesterday was very interesting, but not for the English-speaking ones. So I hope we'll get all covered today. And yeah, so let's start. We want to talk a little bit with these guys here about games, new games on old machines, and this is our topic. And as you may know, the two guys which are not from Scene World, in this case Richard and CH, are programmers for games and for the systems C64 and Amiga. So perhaps you could just introduce yourselves for the audience today in a little talk what you make for games, what do you make on the old systems. We could start with Richard again.
Yeah, hi guys. Thanks for having me first. And thanks for not warning me that we're doing this in English today. But I'm trying my best. Yeah, I'm coding games actually since the mid of the 80s. My first game I coded on a Texas Instruments 99 in like 1984 or something. And then I switched to the Commodore 64, developed and published a few games like the Commodore version of the C64 version of Persian Gulf Inferno and Twinkie Goes Hiking for Firebird Software. A couple of so-called listings des Monats for Happy Computer Magazine and for 64er Magazin. And then I stopped developing games for a couple of years and returned to developing games for the Amiga in 2015. And the reason is that it's kind of a lifetime dream that I wanted to develop and publish a game on the Amiga. And if it's the year 2015, what can you do? Then it's then I'm late to the party. Whatever. And that's how Reshoot became to be, a game released in August 2016, and in May 2019 I published a game called Reshooter. Exactly. Thanks AJ for showing. Yeah. And currently I'm developing another game in this shoot 'em up series, which is called Reshoot Proxima 3, which if all goes well, should be ready by maybe end of 2020, but it looks like the beginning of 2021. Yeah, so that's me in a nutshell.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, we know each other, but I think now everyone knows who you are. CH, you are well known in the Gamescom retro area, because there you are always present with your games, with your guys, and a lot of fun at your booth. It's everywhere where Dr. Wuro is, there is fun. So please introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I had a C64 in my childhood, and I never released something on it until a few years back. So when I regained interest in writing new games for the system, I decided to make 4-player games. So in order to have 4 people sitting in front of the same computer and play against each other. So that was the idea. And the game that I released first was Shotgun. This is this one. So it's like an arena deathmatch. So it's like Quake in 2D, if you want to say that. And it was it was a lot of fun. And so I decided to make another 4-player game. You can see it here. So that's called Frogs, and you have to throw the other frogs into into the water with your tongue. So that's also much fun for 4 people. And the nice thing about it is that you don't have to read the manual. You just pick up the joystick and then you play it. And I actually made another game which is for 1 or 2 players only. It looks like this. So it's called Shadow Switcher. It's a very old school game. So I did not try to push the boundaries of the C64. I went the other way. I wanted to make a game that looks like it could have been released in 1983 already. So that's my kind of stuff that I do. And yeah, so I'm also happy to be now in this virtual Gamescom this year.
Could it be that you were inspired by Lode Runner for this one?
In a way, it was yeah. It's not a clone of Lode Runner, so it's not Clone Runner, but I was inspired by Lode Runner.
Oh my.
Oh, you
Nice.
should trademark that name quickly.
Nice, nice. So, do we actually want to start with explaining a bit about the games so we can show the promo, or?
Well, I suppose.
Right.
Okay.
So, who wants to be the first, actually? Maybe Richard, tell us a bit about Reshoot and how it all started. I'm just showing the trailer here for Reshoot. So the beginning.
Yeah. So do you expect me to talk while the trailer is running?
Yes.
Absolutely.
We don't
Yeah.
expect you to die.
Okay, I cannot see the trailer, so I've got to please give me a signal as soon as I should stop talking, because the trailer is finished or because I'm too boring. What do we actually see now? Do we see Reshoot or Reshoot Proxima, or what do we see?
We actually see Reshoot R right now.
Okay, gameplay.
Yes.
Great. Okay, so what you see is already the second shoot 'em up which I developed for the Amiga. I started developing this one for a simple reason, because when I had finished Reshoot, the first one, and released it at Gamescom 2016, I got a lot of feedback, positive and negative, from the community, also from guys who played it at Gamescom. And for example, Willy Becker from Factor 5 came by and had a go. I actually had a few goes and mentioned a few things that I could modify, which would make the game more playable. And Oliver Linnow came by. He's one of the best graphics experts we got in Germany for pixel bitmap based graphics, and he told me that if I would change the color here and there, set a few pixels here and there, the game could look much better. And that's why I decided to develop another game. That's Reshooter. Took me 3 years to develop it, and it's basically a homebrew hobby project, since there's not such a thing as a big market or something, but it's just fun to work on this. It's like other people, they build cars from bricks, or they go golfing or something like that, and I'm developing computer games. And it was actually a pleasure to do it, because I worked with 2 people who were so proficient in what they are doing. One of them is actually right here in the stream. He's Martin. Martin did the music for the game, and he made such a fast and fitting music for the game that it's one of the most important reasons why this game got so rather good feedback. And
Using
Kevin
very few
Saunders
tracks as well.
actually, yeah, we only have, I think, 3 games. We have got a title track, an in-game track, a boss track, and then we have
Credits track.
what is it called?
The
Yeah,
credits.
yeah.
The credits.
Yeah, the credits, the outro track. Yeah, and the reason is simple. it costs a lot of time to actually develop a game. As I said, it took me 3 years, and Martin was with me for almost the same time. It took us like 2.5 years, I would say, to develop music which really fits each scene. And it took us so long to just have one track and work on it until it's kind of perfect. Like we wanted CD quality, audio. We wanted a track which works together with sound effects, which is not too easy to do on the Amiga because the Amiga only has 4 sound channels. So if
That's
you
kind of what I was alluded to doing with the tracks. Not I misspoke. I should have said.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I think Martin, you're using three of these channels. Yeah, 3 channels.
In Reshoot are there 3 channels?
Yeah, 3
In Reshoot
channels.
Proxima.
Only 2. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that gives us space to have good sound effects while the music's playing, which is pretty important nowadays. Whereas in the old days, Amiga gamers were used to switching between either music or sound effects, and having both was not too common, really. So we wanted to have both at the same time in CD quality on the Amiga 1200, 4000, and CD32. And also we aimed for a real modern look and feel. So the game should not look like a homebrew project which someone plays who actually loves the Amiga and plays it for like 5 minutes and says, okay, this is looking nice for an Amiga game, but we aim for a game which looks just nice on any platform. Actually, I do know a few people who played on like the PS Vita on their emulator because they say it's working and it's great. It's great to have this game portable on the PS Vita and play it while I'm in the train or something like that. And that's what we aim for. And also so sort of the music is important for that. The visuals are important for that. That's why I worked many weeks on the visual effects. Like we have some kind of 3-dimensional parallax scrolling stuff going on, which is also not too common on the Amiga. You can see it in a couple of demos and 1 or 2 games which have already used that effect. But we also have some effects in the game which are never being used. For example, in the 5th stage, there's a kind of a 3-dimensional tunnel thing going on, which I think there's one Super Nintendo game which used a comparable effect. I think it was a Batman game. But on the Amiga, this has never been seen before. And I think it's important to have effects like that working together with the game and the music. So we really aimed for a game which does not look good, only looks good, which does not only sound good, which does not only control good, but which does everything quite well. And I think we kind of succeeded. If you consider that we do this in our spare time and we have no financial, we have no money to spend on it. I mean, Martin does it for free. I'm basically investing all my time, and I'm happy if I can get the package, which producing this is kind of expensive. I'm happy if this is going to be refinanced. So this is all happening in his spare time. Kevin Saunders, who also worked like 3 years on a game, he's also just keen to have the best possible visuals he can do within a set time frame of 3 years, and then have a finished game, and receive a package with a CD-ROM in it and an instruction manual in it, and a finished product which you can then show around and which you can just be proud of. And if the community gets back to us and gives us great feedback, that's kind of the reward. So
and also I want to add, because we saw escalation and heard it in the trailer, AJ's girlfriend Laura actually spoke escalation.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
it is.
She
So-
spoke all the words which are used in this game. Like,
Yeah, but it was just in the trailer, like escalation,
Yeah.
escalation. Yeah.
check your WhatsApp, Richard. You can see the stream there. I got you the link. So that
Right.
You know, the packaging on it really, you know, again, you're talking about how this is a budget sort of thing, like that you're doing in your spare time. But like the packaging is like significant. Like this is some serious like this is put together really, really well.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
it's expensive. I mean, like, have a look at the CD-ROM. This is actually printed. It's not handwritten or something, or not printed with some inkjet stuff, but it's actually printed in a factory. And that's just my approach towards producing stuff. You know, I don't see why I should produce works not as good as the stuff released in 1992. So I really want to release something which feels professional, which, you know, Martin can be proud of and Kevin can be proud of, and all guys. There are many, many more people involved with the project too. The guy who did the homepage, the guy who did the high score website, global ranking stuff, and the guy who did the artwork, which you can see here. And many, many more people. And I want all these people to be proud of, and you can be proud if you have something in your hands which just feels good. So, AJ, I mean, your girlfriend did the voice, and
yes.
That's one important thing. You know, having voice in a game, which it just gives you the adrenaline push. You know, that escalation thing, which she says is just something you hear it, and then you know, okay, there's something's going to happen now, and I'm a bit afraid. I'm a little bit shaking now. And that's
right.
This is one of the details which really make or break a game. And yeah, so thank you very much please say thank you to your girlfriend.
Absolutely, I'm trying to get her to come downstairs, but she's
too shy for the Gamescom live stream.
Yeah.
So maybe now we should switch to Christian. Christian, let's talk about talk about your first game. Actually, that was Shotgun. That's actually how I learned about you.
Okay. Yeah. So in my case, it's a bit different. I think we already once talked about that, Richard. So in my case, it's I'm doing everything on my own for my games, mostly. So that's also a reason why I have to do the programming, I have to do the graphics and the music, and I do it the best that I can. But I'm also I'm doing a little bit different style. So my style is a little bit more minimalistic, and I'm going a little bit more towards the retro look. So I'm trying to make it look cute, and I'm trying to make it look it has its own style in a way, so it has a kind of character to it, but still the graphics are very simple, and also the sound and the music, it's not the top-notch stuff, but I try to make it with a certain kind of character. And one advantage of doing that is that I don't have to talk with other people and ask them, hey, can you please make the music now? I really need it, and so on. So it's always my own fault if the game is not coming along.
Yeah.
But actually, in the case of Shotgun, this was a very quick game. So I only took 1 month to program it. But I also did a maybe special approach, because I first coded the whole game on a modern PC in a modern programming language. So I coded it in Python, and it looked exactly the same. So I made the graphics already in a C64 style, and I had the game running after a few days already, and I could try it with my friends, and we could see if the game is good or not, and if there were any more things to add or not. And I decided to not add anything, because the core gameplay was already fun enough, and I thought the more things that I will add, the more complicated it will be to pick up. So in my case, I just wanted it to be as simple as possible and as much fun as possible. So the game was running after a few days, and when I saw that it was already fun, I decided to port it to the C64. This took a few weeks, so in overall it took pretty much exactly 1 month to finish the game. And yeah, it was very well received in the C64 community, because 4-player games are not very common. There are a few, but not very many. And you also need a special kind of hardware to connect the other 2 joysticks. But this is a very inexpensive piece of hardware that you can even solder on your own if you want. and I thought it was there's a glitch now in the in the video recording in my game. Okay, I just saw a glitch in the video recording. Okay, yeah, so I decided to improve on the 4-player situation, so that was my goal. And because it was so well received, I made a follow-up game of that. Yeah, the game itself, as you can see, there are 4 guys running around dark corridors, and they have to pick up weapons, and each weapon has 3 shots, so 3 bullets. So you can shoot 3 times. After that, you have to pick another one up. And so it's very, you are changing very quickly from being the hunter and to being the hunted. And all the maps are very different. So on first sight, you think, okay, it's just a few different maze layouts, but in reality, there's quite a lot of differences. So some maps, they have like the one that is now shown, it has a wide open space, and some of them have the weapons in strange locations, or there's even one map that only features 2 guns. So if you have played with 4 players, you are always camping in front of the guns. So each map has its own twist to it. Let's say it like this. And yeah, the game is very quick and very action. Very much action is in the game, and it's you can just play it as long as you want, because a match usually lasts a few minutes. You can directly pick it up. Everyone will already understand what's to do, because there is not much to do. And yeah, you can play it as long as you like, and as soon as if it gets boring, you switch to another game. So that's
really quick question for you. There's a question in the chat whether you're planning to develop for the Mega 65 at all.
Just in general, or porting the games, or
porting the games.
Well, actually, they will be part of the original. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to tell it, but I know that they are running the Mega 65, so that has been already tested, and I think they might be part of the original software distribution somewhere. So the games are running, but they will. At the moment, they will not be modified, so they look the same. And I'm not sure if I plan to modify them, because in my opinion, the minimalistic style suits them well. So I actually don't want to have more colors or something. I think it will dilute the minimalistic style. But maybe I will program something new for the Mega 65, because I'm a huge fan of the Mega 65.
Also,
Mega 65.
You have the voice of Reshoot has actually walked downstairs. Sorry to interrupt.
No problem. Hello. Oh, the voice of Reshoot. Escalation. With dog.
Good to see you. Yeah, I'm the one you've given the voice to for Reshoot. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. It was really fun. I've never done anything like that before.
It was great. It really gave the game the special edge it needed.
Oh, good.
Nice. Bye. Yeah. But I have to correct you, Christian, in one thing. The rounds don't last so long sometimes, because Martin and I, we are bad players. When we played it against somebody on your booth, he was asking us if we are playing bad on intention or if we are really such bad players. And I had to say, yeah, we are really such bad players. So that was really something. So it really
actually,
depends how good you are.
So many people, of course, always say when I'm playing with them, yeah, it's clear that you will win because you are the programmer. But I have already seen people that have smashed me into pieces in my own game. So yeah. I'm also not the best player. Actually, what we see at the moment is the hidden Christmas Easter egg. So you can activate a Christmas Easter egg, and then you will have Christmas-themed shotgun.
Now it's not hidden anymore because everybody saw it.
Yeah, but the game's already 4 years old, so...
Spoiler alarm! Spoiler alarm!
Yeah. Oh, that is awesome.
Nice. Okay, well, as we are doing here developer talk, maybe Richard, tell a bit about how do you start from the game idea to the final game? Maybe that's an idea, because I guess most people nowadays, they can't imagine how much work is put into developing a new game for alt hardware.
I could talk about the workflow I'm using, but I can do that first probably, but it's maybe not the most important aspect. The workflow I'm using, the workflow. Sorry?
Like, I'm sorry. A lot of games these days have huge developing teams, and you're, one person making the game. Which is, a commercial grade game, really.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that the first thing in order to get a game out which looks like a AAA professional game is to somehow find a way how to do it. And I think the way to do it is to be to first find people who are willing to work with me. So the chemistry has to be right, and the guys have to be reliable. That's probably. What are you drinking, Martin?
We are playing a little game in the chat right now. It's all okay. Go on.
And like for example, Martin, who did the music, when he's saying he's working on the music, then that's what he's actually doing. Maybe it takes him 1 or 2 days longer than he promised, but I will. In the end, I will release. I will receive a music which just sounds great. The same with Kevin, and as soon as I knew, okay, I've got people which are reliable, which really can do a good job. I knew, okay, now I've got like I do get the stuff I need. I do get music. I do get pixels. It's now time to do my job, and my job is to establish a workflow which enables me to work as fast as I can in my spare time, while still getting good results. And my approach is cross development, which means I'm not developing on the Amiga. Actually, I'm developing on an iMac and on a MacBook, and I'm using the basic system which is used on Mac systems. That's Xcode, which is usually used for developing iPhone games. And but it can also be used for any other game, really. And in my case, I'm using it as a kind of a very advanced editor, which can show me different, which can show me different codes side by side, so I can compare different states of my code. For example, one code might be 1 week old, and I can compare this one to the current status. And I can also use modern tools like for example, whatever, PaintShop, or actually Opera, or any other internet browser, which is very important nowadays. The community is very, very important for developing such a game in such a rather short amount of time. I mean, 3 years sounds like a lot, but I'm not working like 40 hours a week on the game, but I'm working like rather 4 to 6 hours a week, and that amounts to not too many hours I can invest per week. So you really you need the community to help you when something is wrong, something is not working. If you do not know how you could develop a special effect. So yeah, so I'm working with Xcode on an iMac. I'm using the FSUAE emulator to test my code very often, and I'm using a set of self-developed macros which enable me to save the source code I do have to the hard drive or the SSD in my case, to send the code to the cross assembler I'm using, which is Vasm. This compiles the code, then loads it into the emulator and starts the whole game. And the whole process takes about 1 second. So I'm pressing one button on my keyboard, and then I can immediately see if the code which I developed works. And I've established a comparable workflow for editing levels or stages using a tool called Tiled, which is a pretty common tool for developing 2D-based tiled games any jump and run game, any shoot 'em up game. And again, I can edit a map. I can insert any wave of enemy stuff into the map, give them some attributes like how many copies of an enemy should enter the screen. Should they enter the screen fast, or should they enter the screen left, right? What should happen if they die? Should they just explode, or should they emit like a ton, some bullets, or just some debris? And I can edit all these attributes, and then with the press of one single button, I can again test that very situation I just edited. And that's important because it enables me to edit the game flow very fast, but also very finely in very fine detail. And this workflow is so important because if you many coders they tend to do the map editing by editing the source code. They have lots of numbers in their source code, and if they want to make an enemy enter the screen, they have to alter any kind of numbers in their original source code, and then they have to assemble it, and then they have to load it by hand into an emulator and stuff like that, and that might take many seconds or even minutes, and that's just too long. That leads to games which are, well, they will eventually probably be finished, but they will probably lack the kind of detail which I wanted for my game. So that's basically my approach. Also very important is as I already mentioned, the community and the people working with you on the project. If Martin and Kevin would not be that great and that professional, a game like Reshooter is just not possible. I can perfectly understand if Chris just wants to work on his own and do his own graphics, do his own music, because it makes life kind of easier, more relaxed. You're responsible for everything, and probably I will do the same thing when I'm doing a smaller project. But for a game like Reshooter, it's you just need guys who really know their business. If I would make the music, no one would want to listen to it.
Actually, there's a phrase in English for that. It's called, what Christian is, one-man army.
Yeah, he's a one-man army, and we are three guys army, and it's just a totally different approach. But both approaches actually lead to games which are very unique in their own way. So Chris does games which have a 4-player option, which is very, very entertaining, and it does not need that fancy graphics. Whereas Martin's and Kevin's and my approach is to work a bit longer and really have an eye on each detail, and then have a game which is entertaining for a single player. But it also hopefully compares to modern software. Well, that's basically all. My job, there are lots of additional jobs which is probably too boring to mention, but you need a website, you need someone who produces the CD-ROM, you need someone who does the text for the instruction manual, you need someone who proofreads that stuff, you need someone who does take the screenshots, now someone who does the artwork, someone who takes care of the GEMA, which is the institution in Germany you have to talk to when you are having music in your game and you want to release it on a CD-ROM and stuff like that. Not talking about text and all these things which are all happening at you cannot see it in a game, but it's still someone has to take care of it. And or stuff like the global high score ranking we have in Reshooter. When you play the game and you die, you will get a code. You can take this code, enter it on a website a friend of mine created, and then it results in a global high score ranking table, which is pretty unique for an Amiga game. But you have to create that website. You have to create a code which actually works. A PHP software needs to decode it and do something which you can actually see on a website. And all these things, a website like that takes maybe 2 or 3 days to do, but these are 2 of these 3 days for someone who has 2 kids, has a job, has a wife like Martin, like I do, and you've got a lot. There's a lot of balance involved, actually.
Yeah, and also, well, so I would say there's also somebody who has to appear at interviews and be PR. You know, that's actually what we're doing right now.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
What interests me or the audience is a thing that what is the main idea of doing all this programming stuff on these old machines. And actually, I do not program, but as I started making the music for Reshoot, I had to face one thing which is very important nowadays. I actually do professional music productions, which tend to grow up to 120 channels in an ease. That's no problem. Our machines have no limits. I can do what I want. If RAM is missing, I put in some new RAM, that's it. If I need a faster CPU, I pop it in, that's it, and then you go. And when Richard asked me to make a mod, I started without thinking about anything, and I delivered a mod file with 360 kilobytes and 4 channels, and he said, well, my little Padawan, this is quite a bit too much. It has to be much under the 300 kilobyte limit, and it only has to have 3 channels. And this is a limitation which is not common in my life, in my daily life, actually. And this is a thing which I really enjoyed. I have to say, I enjoyed the challenge to have these limitations, which is not normal nowadays. So what is your opinion to this as a programmer?
Christian, you want to answer?
Yeah. In my case, it's a bit different, actually, because as you see from the games, I'm not really pushing the limits. So that's not my goal. But I can understand in a way, there are lots of people who say limitations, they boost creativity and so on. Mm-hmm. And even in my games, I sometimes have to deal with certain limitations. But in my case, it's a bit more, I think it's because I love the charm of the old machines. And I would do games that look like this anyway, even on modern systems, they would look like this. So in my case, it's more like a stylistic choice or matter of taste, maybe. And that's why I choose these limited designs. And maybe also in my case, it's a bit because I love the idea that you can make certain, let's say, call it atmospheres or scenes or objects that are just made out of a few pixels, but they still they inspire your mind. So you see a few pixels on the screen, you see small trees made out of a few pixels, but it still can give you the illusion of being in the game and in the story and so on. So it does not have to be realistic, and I think that's an aspect that I really like. So that it is possible to make these kind of, let's say, designs or whatever with just so few means. So that's maybe my challenge, if you want to call it challenge. But yeah, so that's the reason in my case.
Yeah, and basically we are creating worlds with a limited set of tools or technical facilities we have to use. We can use, and it's just very fulfilling if something works and begins to start breathing and living and actually starts moving and starts to develop some kind of character, some kind of spirit. And that's really my thing. Also, I mean, why not develop for a modern system like Switch, for example? I mean, the thing is that most games are nowadays released digitally, which it's just not my cup of tea. I just like to have a package in my hands. That's my kind of a reward after 2 or 3 years of working on things like that. I have actually developed 1 or 2 games on iOS, on iPhone, and it just felt empty when the game was released because you did not get anything. You just one day you can see the game on iTunes, you see a screen, and that's it basically. Maybe you get some feedback from the community, but only if the game sells well. If it does not, and most games on the iPhone do not sell well, you just get a little bit of feedback, and that's it basically. There's no, there's no community behind it which really wants to talk to you, which really wants to get behind the product. Whereas when you develop for the Commodore 64 and also for the Amiga, you are part of a family, I would say. You're meeting people at different gatherings and events. You talk to them, you show them your game, and you can do that with you do not need to invest a lot of money actually. Whereas if you would do like a Switch game or an iPhone, how do you present it to the people? You would and so make them actually play. You would have to buy a booth on the Gamescom show in 2021, and that would be pretty expensive. Whereas if you're developing for a retro system, you can go to any community event in your neighborhood, show the game, and you will get some real good feedback. And that's kind of this family community thing, which I also like. So that's part of the challenge to take care of the community. And the other part is, like Martin said, is somehow how should I say that? Amiga is like a monster. There are so many technical aspects in this machine, and you have to really take them and do how to get the most out of it, and that's very great too if you're successful in the end. Very fulfilling, yeah.
It is.
Okay. Well, so what else could we ask?
That's a good question. We have to stop for a second. We get 10 seconds of off-topicness.
Tea drinking?
Yeah, it's kind of a tea. It's well, we have 8 o'clock past now. We actually have a lot of people going crazy in the chat right now, and I have to say a big cheers to all guys in the chat. You keep it live here, and that's awesome. It's so much people have fun, and also we have fun, and they also listen to what we say. That's two things. I want to.
Are there any questions? Ask some questions.
Yeah. Did you ask questions?
Yeah.
Are there other questions from the chat? We will send them to AJ. So we switched the language from German to English in the last 10 minutes.
Because Google Translate was killing me.
Yeah.
Maybe one more thing about what Richard said, because I thought about it when he talked about it, because the cool thing is if you develop for an old system, it's actually truly cross-platform because you can play it basically on every system. It just needs an emulator. Yeah. So that's also a good reason for developing for old games.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So that's good. Joerg, we could now watch perhaps, because we have some minutes left.
Sure.
I think you have the new video trailer for Reshoot Proxima 3.
I have.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. Let's switch to that. Let's switch to that.
We are talking and talking.
We got 15 minutes, and
right.
We need to,
Sure. So it's playing right now.
That's nice. So people see the Gamescom logo. That's okay.
Yeah.
What do they listen to the music too?
Yes.
So actually, guys, what you are listening now to is real 2-channel heavy metal, Amiga heavy metal. I don't know how many kilobyte it is. It's approximately 200 kilobytes.
No, it's 150.
150. See,
yeah.
He knows better than me because he's a programmer. I don't give a about kilobytes in my music, so. So what we see there so you changed the main thing that Reshoot and Reshoot R always went horizontal.
Yeah, it's vertical now.
It's vertical now.
It's vertical now. And it's got heavy metal music in it.
And it has got heavy metal music in it. Yeah.
Thank you very much for doing that, Martin. I know how it was pretty hard for you.
Because you don't like the kind of music? Or what?
Well, I'm a techno and a trance producer, so you don't have the challenge to do things with guitars and drums.
They're saying that there's no sound, Joerg.
Well, I put it there. That's all I can say.
So everyone who's in the chat,
it's playing.
It has to contact me. We will do. Actually, this is a nice thing to say.
The music just stopped. Now we are at end credits. So.
So
it was too heavy.
It was too much for the stream to handle.
We should if the trailer will get official now in YouTube, we will send the link here in the chat. I don't know if you can do this now or.
I mean, is it? I mean, I think it is already.
It's on YouTube already. Yeah.
So I will send the link in 2 minutes when we get here.
This is another example of the things that we are trying to do with Proxima 3. I kind of forced Martin to work on a heavy metal in-game track, simply for the reason that I thought, we had like chip tunes in the first Reshoot game, we had more like dance floor music in the second game in Reshooter, and I really wanted to have something new in Reshoot Proxima 3, and also there were some games which tried to implement heavy metal kind of music in the old days, but the guitars, they never worked. It sounded like they had just one sample, and then they changed the, how's they called, Martin, the pitch. Yeah, the pitch, and it just did not sound right. Whereas when Martin and I discussed the idea of implementing heavy metal style music, we talked about the quality of the guitars, and that needed to be right. And that's, we have good guitars now, and I don't know how many guitars you sampled, Martin, in order to get that right.
Well, I didn't sample guitars anyway, because I had the pleasure to ask a guy from who we all know, who is very present in the retro area. Actually, it's Senad Palic, and I asked him to play the guitar, and we had some Skype sessions here, and he played and played and played and played, and well, we actually found something which was kind of suitable for the game, and so we developed it, and after that he recorded many minutes of stuff, and I had to the challenge to get the things which work in the track, which are this little, and guitar is a guitar, and you can only repeat one little sample because it sounds like a synthesizer or anything. So we had quite a challenge with it, but I think it went out very well. I think it's interesting to get the people's opinion when it's ready, when they hear it, because now they couldn't hear it in the stream, but when the game is released, I'm very, how do you say, gespannt? Well, I'm interested.
Excited.
Excited, yes, sure.
Yeah. But I'm really sure that you will get great, or we will get great feedback, because it just fits the game, and it's something new. Yeah, it makes the game feel different, and it's another challenge, having guitars in an Amiga game which sound just right, which work with sound effects, which work with speech, all in game while all the action goes on, and this you just use 2 channels in the in-game soundtrack, which enables me to put in big explosions while the music plays, and this is important for a shoot 'em up game. I think you need big explosions and lots of stuff flying around, and this will only work. This can only work with a 2-channel music. So that's one of the challenges. Chris, I mean, one of your challenges was to develop a game which 4 players enjoy playing, and then having a hardware to develop a hardware which actually enables people to plug in a set of 4 joysticks into the Commodore 64 so that 4 players can play together. And it's all about challenge, really. I mean, developing a cartridge which has 2 joystick ports in it, I imagine that's pretty, I have absolutely no idea how this is even possible.
Yeah, I don't have the idea also, because this was not made by myself. So that's one of the parts where I work with other people then, because I'm not a hardware guy. So that cartridge was made by Siem Appelman. So that's a Dutch guy who is very keen on developing PCBs for cartridges and so on.
Is that great? I mean, that's something which we can do now in the year 2020. We can just chat with guys using the internet and find people who can actually provide a solution for the challenge you got in front of you. And that's one of the key things why I develop
just 1 second. Martin, please stop messaging me, because I can't close it right now. And
okay.
people can hear it in the chat. Thank you.
It's okay. We're just letting you know. It's no problem. It's not an issue.
No. Okay. You know, if I do anything, it has to do with sound. So we had some sound from here.
Yes. Okay. It's live. Things happen.
Yeah. I don't know if we could talk of any other plans we have.
Talk about whatever you want.
Yeah, we had a thing with the last game, which is I think important too today when we are talking about games for retro systems, which is just limited for a lot of people, because not all people have the old systems ready or are able to use emulators. And a nice idea from Richard was to make a remix album, also pressed, which is a thing nowadays. It's not just MP3s, and we found a lot of interesting people remixing the music, like the German Remix Group, for example, who, by the way, are in the chat right now. Hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
And we planned to do this time another remix thing, because this time we don't have just 1 track. It's just a lot of tracks. We have exclusive music for every level we now have, and a title screen, etc. And I think this is another approach, not only for have something in your hands and to have the thing also in your car, for example. It's also for people who like the idea of having new things for the old systems, the old flavor again, but can also participate from it without having an Amiga, for example.
Exactly, yeah. So this is kind of a retro feel which you can enjoy in your car if you've got a CD player in your car.
If you have,
And Martin, you already mentioned that I should do an MP3 version. So or a USB stick you mentioned, I think, right?
Perhaps, why not?
Yeah, why not? Why not? We can think about everything. If it's realistic to do, why not? Yeah. I mean, So this is the fun of it, you know. With the community, meeting guys who are keen to provide stuff, you know. The German Remix Group, they provided so many great tracks which we could put on the soundtrack CD-ROM or on the soundtrack CD. And if the same happens with Reshoot Proxima 3, that would just be a nice thing, because it's just a great music. Yeah. Which
someone in the chat mentioned a remix on vinyl as well.
Oh, that would be awesome. But it's very expensive.
Is it?
Even nowadays? Well, it's more expensive than a CD, but actually it's a thing here. Hero in Germany, for example, you have a lot of vinyl. I actually got the Messiah. It's called what's the game called? The C64 game? I forgot it.
I don't know, unfortunately, which game you mean. Otherwise, I would help you.
It's from Psytronic. What's it's called?
Oh, well, I have no idea. I'm sorry.
It's no problem. It's a C64 game which got a release for the music on vinyl, and it's actually so nice to have the SID tunes on vinyl. This is it's a feeling you even don't have in the 80s. You have the music.
Did Chris Hülsbeck ever release something on vinyl?
Yeah.
Oh yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
did,
quite
right?
pricey now if you look on certain platforms.
Huh. I like the
Yeah.
idea.
Can I also
Why
talk
not?
about some next level stuff?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the last
sure.
4 minutes, all yours, Chris.
So,
Yes.
so behold. So this looks like a Shadow Switcher screenshot, but
Mhm.
actually it is a piece of paper.
A
Oh.
notepad.
Paper
A
has a very
notepad.
special pattern.
To design your own charts, great.
Yeah, so it's made for developers, so they can do stuff like this.
That's funny.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
That is awesome, actually.
That's next level retro, yeah.
Yes.
But it will come soon. So I just wanted to tease this now.
Where can I order that?
Yeah, you can. I will give it to you for free, of course.
Actually, I was the last person to get a limited edition of Frogs, and it had a bag with it. Actually,
About what?
a bag.
Ah, yeah, the bag.
Like a
It was also a special present for you. The bag.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was
now
not-
I feel
Oh,
special.
okay.
Wow.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm sometimes a little bit known as the master of
Whoa.
merchandise stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now,
Swag.
that we talk highly about your productions. Hopefully not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
I would do that anyway. So it's all good. All good. Right.
Yeah, you know that I support you guys also. So
Yeah.
Woo. Okay, guys. We are about to end.
Yeah, we are out of time.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it was nice talking to you. Thanks for sitting with us.
Yes.
Actually, it was nice talking.
Yeah, and everybody in the chat, my God, it has been bouncing. This has been amazing.
That's
This
good.
is amazing.
Tomorrow, we have the same panel as yesterday, but in English. So for
Yeah.
everybody who said yesterday he was sad that they couldn't understand anything, we have the same tomorrow. But instead of Hans Ippisch, we have Tommy Tellerico, who's known for Earthworm Jim. So
Yeah.
if you are a Worm fan, maybe this is for you.
yeah, scene work, guys. Maybe you should continue this kind of thing after gamescom.
Perhaps.
I love it. It's really great what you're doing here.
It's really nice. I have all this response real time. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So we have 2 minutes left. So what shall we do?
I actually have 1 minute because it's switching on 59. So,
Is there any questions from the community we can answer within 1 minute?
30 seconds.
Actually,
Not so much.
we only get
Okay.
ID.
I had a pen in my ear for a good 5 minutes, Marco.
Okay. Then thank you guys for having me and for doing such a great job here. It was really nice talking to you.
Again.
Yeah.
That happens three times in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will see. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Yeah.